Okay. I'm sharing my theories. Where can we put this? Oh. Okay. I don't know if this is the right place to. Hold on, wait. I'm running some trial and error over here. Give me a moment. Okay. This is what we're going with. Okay. So in today's awesome video essay, this is how everyone's doing video essays now. They're going in trees, and they're doing their video essays. Quite frankly, I have the best video essays. Just anyone will tell you my video essays are the best. Because I have the whiteboard, and because I wait 1 minute before starting to talk. Okay. Welcome to my TED Talk about dimensions. Keep forgetting where the camera is. Okay. So obviously, this is gonna be really inconvenient if this is dead. Okay, so bad news, the whiteboard is dead. The marker's dead. No, the whiteboard's dead. Nothing works. I can't write on it. Oh good lord, do not sweep my hair away. That would be an unfortunate day. I'm trying to figure out what to do. Should I just write in the dirt? Perhaps I should carve into the tree. Who knows? Okay. I'm gonna do my best though. So as you can see, everyone knows the third dimension. This is pretty basic knowledge. We know everything about this because we exist in it. So there's no questions to be asked about that. But okay, if I write at an angle, it kind of works. Okay. Second dimension. This only works on a digital screen, on the phone. The video you're watching is third dimensional because see how I can turn this around, but you can also do a second dimensional video. Everyone's seen animations. Everyone's seen drawings that are second dimensional, which work here on on the screens because they're not actually objects that exist in real life. They're things you're viewing on a screen. When you watch a third dimensional video, it's not popping out of the screen. You're viewing it on the screen. You see what I'm saying here? So the second dimension can't exist outside of a screen. And it's gonna help if I tap on this. I kind of like the little ants wander around here. That's cute. Okay. So now everyone's thought of the third and second dimension, but see what people don't commonly talk about is the first and the fourth dimension. So the first dimension, we can perceive this, right? So we can imagine it, it would either just only go up, only go this way, or only go back and forth. So you might imagine this as a line, but actually this wouldn't work because if you look closely, there's a squirrel. Okay, if you look closely, you can see see that still has dimension. Well, obviously, that brings me to my point that the first dimension cannot exist. Not only can it not be perceived by us, it can't exist. It can't be perceived by the second dimension because I will continue on to my point now that the second dimension cannot perceive. So you might imagine what ways would the second dimension be able to perceive in? You might imagine it as a Terraria type view where you can see where this is the object, but its line of sight is here. It can see itself moving, perhaps. But see, that wouldn't work, because in order to be able to see, it would have to go out here and have, like, its sight be here. See, that doesn't work, because it's in the second dimension. It can't go into the third dimension. So you might wonder, like, okay, maybe it can see this way. No, it can't, because in its reality, there's nothing this way. Because, like, for us in the third dimension, if there's a fourth dimension, we can't. I thought there was someone behind me. It's the Invisible Man again. I'm not crazy. Okay, so, like, we can see, like, oh, this way, but, like, if there's, like, a fourth dimension, like, maybe it's, like, this way, well, it would be in a direction we can't perceive. So if there's things there, that would be in our blind spot. Like, it's like, unless it goes into dimensions we understand, then we might be able to perceive it. But, like, it would be, like, incoherent, because, like, its form wouldn't make sense to us if it has a fourth dimension to it. However, like, I'll continue on that point later, because I have more to talk about, but we're focused on the second dimension and its perception. So we know it can't perceive, like, through this side. We know it can't perceive this way. Can it perceive from any of these sides? No, it cannot. And that goes the same for the angles, because, like, it would see, but what would it see? Because it sees, say this is, like, the square, like, it goes this way, it sees forward. Maybe there's another square. See, maybe there's, like, another square, but from the square's point of view, what can it see? It can't see, like, a line, because if you rotate that square, you can't see it from the side, because it doesn't exist in this dimension. And so, like, I lost my train of thought. I'm trying to really rein myself in here, try not to go on any tangents. So we know the second dimension cannot perceive, it cannot exist in real life, and therefore these go the same for the first dimension, because it's smaller, so it can do even less. It can't perceive, it can't be perceived, it can't exist. Like, while the second dimension can be perceived, the first cannot, because it's smaller. I'm trying to squeeze myself in here in a way that I'm still visible. Right, so... No, I can't angle that anymore, okay. So then we go on to, like, the third dimension and then the fourth dimension. So there must be things that, like, the fourth dimension can do that we can't do, right? Because the same goes... Bugs, there's bugs, I like bugs. Okay, the same goes for the relationship between third and second and first. And, see, there's theories on what the fourth dimension could be. I've seen pictures, like, that are like, if there was a fourth dimension, this is what it would look like. And it's, like, an incoherent shape. And I think they're onto something there. I think they can, like, sort of form how it would look. But, that's, like, when you can see all the inner lines. When you view it from the front, the shading and lighting wouldn't make sense, because it would bounce off it in a way that we don't understand. Fourth dimensional things can't exist on this planet, because we would notice them and be like, what the hell is that? Because we can't perceive it. Like, we can see them, but we can't, like, it's just an incoherent object to us. You see what I'm saying? Like, like, colors that a mantis shrimp will see, like, I'm going somewhere with this. So, like, mantis shrimp, they can see way more colors than us, right? But if you look at, like, okay, this is a color that would look way different to them. They would see, like, several more colors here. But we just see, for example, like, say we just see red, and they see, like, glorp and zorp and zeebeldop, and red. So you could, like, you can look at that color that they would see as different things, but you can't see what like, color that is to them. You can perceive that the color exists, like, it's not just absent for you, but it shows as something different, and it doesn't make sense that it could be, like, a different color, since we don't understand that. Like, you can't, a person, like, a human can't imagine how it is to have wings. Like, okay, maybe you could, but, like, God, what's a good comparison I can use? I'm trying to use comparisons here, and it's not working. I feel like I should have gone into this with a script, but I would forget it, definitely. Okay, right, so moving on back to the fourth dimension. Another theory that I've seen about the fourth dimension is people wondering if, like, maybe the fourth dimension is time, which is, like, not how it works, because it's, like, you know, like, to a second dimensional object, if it could, it's difficult because we only know one dimension that we're familiar with that can perceive. We're only very familiar with the second and third dimension. We can kind of imagine how the first dimension would work, but that's kind of difficult to, like, think of because it's imperceivable. While we can at least, like, view the second dimension via a screen. This brings me to another query that I just had to myself. Could a first dimensional being be captured on a second dimensional screen? While, like, if we would have to first rule out, like, we just have to, like, pretend that we can perceive a second dimensional screen. Maybe, like, say there's a third dimensional screen, and in it is a second dimensional screen, and on that second dimensional screen is a first dimensional object. Would that be able to be seen? No, because it has to be, like, that just doesn't work. See, because, like, it has different rules than the second dimension. Like, while the relationship between the third and second dimension is, like, maybe, like, you compare it to the distance from 0. Like, that's 1, and that's 3 and 2 is the difference. You can't compare that fully, like, to the distance between 1 and 2 from 0. Like, 1 and 2 and 3 and 2, those are different things. Like, you can say, oh, they both have a difference of 1, they both have 2, but you can't say, like, oh, these are, like, parallels. Because it's like, I'm forgetting the word, exponential. Like, in an exponential graph, you can see, like, it goes up, like, at not a steady amount. The abilities of each dimension go up by not a steady amount. So, like, the fourth dimension wouldn't just be, like, it wouldn't just have, like, oh, it can be perceived and it can perceive, like, how that's the difference between 3 and 2, the difference between, and so then you take into account the difference between 2 and 1. It's that it can, like, exist. One can exist, then it can't be perceived and can't be perceived in real life. Oh, no. Okay, I'm mixing up the can exist and can be perceived. So, 1, can't exist, can't be perceived, can't perceive. 2, can be perceived, can't exist, cannot perceive. 3 can perceive, can exist, can be perceived. So then the fourth dimension would not only have all those, but it would likely have 4 more abilities, because while it's like the first dimension has 0, the second dimension has 1, the third dimension has 3, that's going up by 1, then by 2, and then the next would be 4. But it could also be 3, because we aren't fully sure of how this works. And we also don't know what other abilities it could have, because, again, we don't exist in the fourth dimension. Moving on to another point. Do I think the fourth dimension could be reachable for humanity? It's a difficult question, because we only have knowledge of, like, the first 3 dimensions, and that's not much knowledge to go off of. Like, maybe if we had knowledge of the fourth and the fifth dimension, we could, like, be like, okay, now we can make an educated guess on the sixth. But we can't, because we don't have much to go off of. Like, back to the thing of, like, 1 ability, 2 ability, 3 ability, or 0 ability, 1 ability, 2. 0, 1, and 3. See, we can't be sure if that's growing, because we only have 3 items on the graph. We have the start, and then we have it increases by 1, and then it increases by 2. It could go on, like, 4, 8, 16, or it could go on 3, 4, 5. We don't know how that continues, because we only have these samples. We have a very small sample. We can't go off that. Like, if, for example, like, it's a spotted lanternfly. Hold on. Doing my part for... Hold on. Get back here. Sorry that you just had to see Daddy commit a crime, kids. But Father is doing his part for the environment by eliminating invasive species. That sign just appeared behind me. Nope, I'm crazy. Okay, back to my points about, like, these ants here. I was gonna try to see if I could pick one up, because I feel like that'd be kind of cool for my point, but I cannot. For example, like, if someone wanted to test, like, if an ant colony has mites, they can't pick 3 ants, because maybe they would be, like, too small of a sample, and that none of them would have mites. But if you took, like, 100 or 1,000 ants from that colony, you would be able to get a better sample, which helps my point of, like, this. Like, you need to have a certain amount of data to make an educated guess. You can't just freeball it with 3 items of data. Just realized there might be ants getting on my eraser. Get off. If anybody's on there, get off. Okay. So that's pretty much all I have to say on the fourth dimension. I am going to make another video. I will release it tomorrow, and I haven't decided yet what it's on. I'm freeballing it. I have some ideas, but I haven't fully chosen, like, oh, this is what I'm gonna do. Like, you know, I will continue possibly until I forget about this and abandon it for who knows how long. I will do my best to remember to make more little, like, discussions in the woods. Yeah. I'm gonna go play with bugs. Thanks for tuning in.